everybody. Welcome back to another edition of MMI Office Hours. Today we will be talking about SPO, what it is, what it means to us, and what it should mean to you. So I'm Vicky Walters. I'm our Director of Client Solutions, and I'm here with Cam and Stella. Cam and Stella, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Cameron Thorne. I'm the Global Head of Insights and Analytics.
And then Stella Rigafulu, I'm the Director of Data and Analytics, and I'm in Cameron Sim. Hi, everyone.
All right, awesome. So let's just jump right in. Do you guys want to give us a kind of an overview of what SPO is and, why we're talking about it today?
Yeah, so I think in its most basic form, SPO or supply path optimization is taking a look at the different paths that brands can take to deploy their media spend, and basically avoiding the pitfalls that exist there and trying to enhance the different paths that lead to the best sort of outcomes. If we can flip it back on you though, Vicky, you're our resident ad tech expert. So can you talk a little bit about what are the different constituent parts that make up a supply path?
Yeah, great question. When we say supply path, we're thinking about everything from the ad server to the DSP, to the exchange, to the SSP, and then even all the way down to the domain level. So every step along that process in a programmatic ecosystem, there's the opportunity to optimize. If you see that certain domains are underperforming, then obviously you're going to exclude them. But if you see that other exchanges are underperforming, you can action on that too.
And Stella, what do you think, can you talk a little bit about how we join it all up? What does that process sort of look like?
Yeah, sure. So we deploy our tag on 100% on the impressions. And then what we are doing, we're actually requesting the log level data from any DSP or ad server. And we are using some key values such as auction AD or potentially impression AD to match it back with our data set. And then we are trying to get some further information on top of what we already have to enrich our data. Most of our focus is regarding the costs. So we are trying to get some the billable cost or the total media cost, and then we're trying to advise back on what their strategy or what their change in their tactics needs to be.
And from a sort of analytics perspective, what are you looking at there? What are you hoping to find?
So we're trying to find the relationship between things like the CPM cost or the volume of impressions purchased to a specific DSP or a change, and then we want to see the impact in viewability, or most importantly for us, the invalid traffic. So it's more about understanding the full path, let's say, of an ad.
What are some of the blockers, the inhibitors that we see when we try to go through this process?
So first of all, in order to actually do something like this, we need to get data access. This is not an out-of-the-box offering from the DSPs. So we need to file multiple requests to specific people, to key people, basically. And then typically from there, we're getting access to a bucket. It depends on the DSP. So for example, for Google, it's the Google bucket. And then we can see the data that usually are sitting there for the last 2 months.
And on top of that, not all exchanges are sharing this information with us. Some either can't or won't. And also there's certain environments where auction ID just doesn't exist, look at bundles. Or if you're buying things directly, if you're buying things directly with supply path optimization, you kind of already know all the answers to. But in the programmatic ecosystem, there are limitations. And we're working with exchanges and working with DSPs all the time to try to see how to get additional information, because it's really valuable to know, where's your money going and where's it worth it.
You mentioned bundles there, Vicky. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and why it's a bit of an inhibitor to supply path optimization?
Yeah, so just talking broadly, when you're buying through a bundle, it's a little bit less precise when it comes to where you're actually buying. You're buying, it's kind of like if you're going to, you know, a store and you're buying a bundle of socks. There might be 5 different colors in that bundle of socks. You just know you bought a bundle of socks. And that's kind of the best. I'm trying to think of how to make this a very simple metaphor, and the socks maybe it's just because my feet are cold. But when it comes to like looking at specific supply path, different socks in that bundle might be great, but you don't really know which pair of socks is the one that was doing well for you and which pair of socks in that bundle is doing poorly.
Yeah, and if there's that sort of inhibitor to transparency, why might media buyers purchase a bundle?
Oh, price. It's always about price in this industry. It's the same thing as like why you might buy a bundle of socks instead of buying individual pairs. I'm sorry, I'm really sticking with the socks metaphor. It's cheaper. If thinking from the publisher's side or even, you know, the SSP side, if I have some like really great inventory and then some like not bad inventory, but less desirable, and I smush it all together, people are more likely to buy that because I can charge a little bit less than I would for the premium inventory, and you might not end up running on it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the magic word there of cost, and that's something that I know Stella and I've spoken a lot about when we're looking at this sort of data. Stella, do you tend to see any sort of correlation between, you know, the cost, the CPM, and the propensity for invalid traffic to exist?
So yes, it can be. I would say that this really depends on the quality of the data and of the its time. So there are specific DSPs that have a higher chance of getting a higher IVT rate. So I would say that it's totally connected, but how much this is happening, how much this relationship is going on, it more depends on the specific DSP and the data. So just to sum up everything, Vicky, do you want to tell us what are the benefits of doing some SPO?
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down to money. It always comes down to money a little bit. When you're spending a certain media budget, you want to make sure that every dollar is being maximized. You want to get the best return on your investment. With SPO, you can really look at each step in the supply chain and see where your money might be better utilized or where you might be saving some dollars and still getting the same performance. So by being able to tell you, here's the IVT you're seeing from a given exchange, in theory, if you see that a certain exchange is never doing what you want it to do, you might want to look at a different exchange. Or within that exchange, if you see that certain publishers are always doing better than others, same principle. Or you can just use this information, not to cut anyone out, but to start talking to those partners and see why they're doing the way they're doing. Our biggest goal at the end of the day for our clients is to make sure that every dollar they're spending is being spent well and that they're happy with what they're getting. It's not a very transparent industry as a whole, and we're trying to make it a little bit, you know, more open and friendly.
Well, I can't think of a better point to finish on. So thank you both very much, and we'll see you all at the next edition of Office Hours. Thank you.